Hi, it's Ben Rogers. This is the Property Diary. This is Wednesday the 17th of October. What have I been up to today? Well, I had a meeting with the owners of the property, a guy called Roy that I met at the boot fair. You remember the guy that had been recommended to do a sale and rent back by his estate agents? Well, I went along to see him today, met with Roy and his wife. Lovely property, end of terrace property, but the bottom line is I can't help him with the niche that I have in options and installment contracts and stuff. So what's quite interesting today, and I'll kind of explain what happened when I got to the property. He was quite, I suppose the first 5-10 minutes is quite sort of aggressive in a, you said you were going to be here yesterday. For some reason he had it in his head that I was supposed to be there yesterday. It was in my diary for today without a shadow of a doubt, that's what we agreed, but he had it in his head. He also had an issue with my car. He didn't want my car parked anywhere near his house so the neighbours didn't find out. And that's fine, so I parked it up the road outside somebody else's house. It's up for sale. But it was quite the dynamics of the meeting were quite interesting to start off with. Now, I was there for longer than I probably should have been. I identified fairly quickly that I probably wasn't going to be able to help him, even though on the telephone I thought that we might be able to, because he had been talking about going and looking at other rental properties. He was looking, if he couldn't do a sale and rent back, to maybe move out, get the money out of his property somehow and move somewhere else. And my logic was going in there with creating an option where I could take on his property, help him move to a new place. I wanted a bungalow instead of a two-bed house, and find some way of actually creating him getting to a new place without any outgoings. So that was my logic. And also because there's a plot of land on the side of his property, I was thinking, well, you know, there's long-term benefit for me. Anyway, long story short, I couldn't come up with a solution that was right for him, and he was absolutely sort of fixated on the idea that he was going to sell the house. So I just basically gave him some advice, and this is where it started completely turning round for me in the sort of friendliness of the meeting. But guys, still no deal for me. But it's that classic thing: leave people with a good taste in their mouth, give them some great ideas, because you never know when it might come back to you. So we came up with two solutions for him. One was to remortgage his property, because he was talking about selling it to an investor, below market value. He reckoned it's worth 160. He would have been happy to let it go for 140, but he had to get 140. 40 to pay off his existing mortgage, and 100 grand cash that they can go and play with, and as he kept on saying, spending the kids' inheritance. So I said, look, to be honest, you want to be here for the next 20 odd years. So try and keep the property. Go and get a mortgage on it. Go and extend the mortgage you've got on it and get the cash out of the property that way. I said, look guys, I can't give you financial advice. I'm not authorised to give you financial advice, but I'll just float some ideas across to you that you may not have thought about before. I said, look, the other thing is, you've got this bit of land on the side here. You are kind of wanting to sell that bit of land to somebody else so that you can make some more money. Well, look, why don't you get some cash out of your house, because if you've got 40 grand on it, it's worth 160. You should easily be able to get even up to say 120, or okay, let's just say 100 on a buy-to-let mortgage. Doesn't need to rent it out, does he? But you could probably get that amount out. And I said, well, look, that means that you've then got £60,000. 60 grand is easily going to build you a house on the land that you've got there. Then, in effect, what you've actually got, you've got your existing house worth 160, you've got a new house, probably a detached property house that's going to be worth about 180. You've got now 340 grand in the house, of which you're only going to owe, say, 100 on. That's got to be worthwhile to you, hasn't it? And so he was chuffed to bits, and I kind of gave him some ideas, and he thought about stuff, and he was like my best buddy by the time I left. Now, does that mean I've walked away with an option deal? No, of course it doesn't. But does it mean that he knows who I am, he knows where my business is located, he's got all my contact details, and he now thinks I'm a flipping star? Yeah. So was it 45 minutes to an hour of my time well spent? Yeah, it probably was. Has it brought out some real hard cash in an option deal today? No, it hasn't. So there you go. So that's what I spent today with. Again, that's one of the leads that came out of the boot fair that I did the other day. I also got a telephone call today from the deal I did on Saturday. And you know how the deal the telephone conversation goes. Ben, we've been thinking about it, and we've kind of decided that it's probably not the way we want to go. We want to get the house sold straight away. So we have a bit of a conversation, and it's funny. No matter how much time we spent in the conversation we had over the weekend, their thought was, well, if we sell it to Ben on an option, we're not going to get our own mortgage paid off. Who knows where they got that idea from? Because the whole point was we babysit their existing mortgage, we babysit the new mortgage on the house that we're going to take an option on. We're paying those, and they have reduced their outgoings to zero. Plus, they've got some cash out of the property as well. They couldn't get that in their head. So, what we've agreed, I've turned it back round again because I've explained. Look, if you carry on with the hopeful sale via an estate agent, that may not happen. Let's say it doesn't happen over the next month, 6 weeks. We're then into the end of November. Is it really going to sell in December? Is it then going to sell in January when people have got no money and are still paying for Christmas? So then it might be somebody of interest in February. Then it might take 3 months, March, April, May, to actually complete on. So they're not going to get any money until May next year. They've got their brother John, who's living in the house, who really wants to be in a protected environment in a flat. They want the money out of the property so they can do the things they want to do. Do they really want to wait another 6 months of that? So what we've agreed is this: we're going to do stuff in tandem. It actually doesn't make a lot of difference to me because we'll go out and find a tenant buyer for it. And guess what? When they go around and do a viewing, and I say, look, hey, we're ready to go on this, that's going to be a lot more interesting to them than, hey, the estate agent still hasn't done anything. So let's evaluate what I did wrong there. What I did wrong was on the Saturday when I met up with them, I didn't do a heads of terms. I didn't have the paperwork with me. Stupid. No, I should have just got a blank bit of paper out and just wrote down what we were talking about. Because psychologically, what that would mean to them is, oh, well, they're selling the house to Ben. But I didn't do that. So learn from that. If you've got somebody who's completely agreeing with what you're doing, just rip a piece of paper out of your folder, get a bit of paper, get the back of a fag packet, get a napkin, whatever it is, and do the flipping deal. Just do the heads of terms. Their name, your name, property address, what you're doing at what time period, what price you're paying, what other bits and pieces you're doing, what special conditions. Just do it. Because if I'd done that, I never would have got that call today. Now I've got it back on track, and I've sent out the heads of terms to them and a confirmation letter of what we're doing and how we're doing it, so they can have something in writing. They'll then get that back to me, and we'll just carry on as we were. But it's one of those blips, and you need to be aware that no matter how positive you think about it, there's all sorts of stuff going on in your vendor's head. So just get it sorted. Final thing for today is I've got a new lead that's come through from one of my sourcing guys up north. This is a property in Derby. He's actually been round to the property, and it doesn't really work on a kind of a rental basis or a BMV basis. The location really is where my sourcing agent has got an issue with it, because it's right on the edge of the main road. It's kind of a cottagey style property, so it doesn't necessarily kind of hit the mark for a rental property. But does it work for an option? Yeah, of course it does. So again, it sounds like it's a marital split, so I just need to have a conversation with them, get both parties on board, agree the price that they want for it, and see if we can't get that going as well. So there you go, that's Ben. This is a property diary. It's Wednesday the 17th of October. I'm just giving you an update. Hope that's been helpful. Look forward to speaking to you tomorrow. Take care. Cheers.